Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, and Wolverine, issue number 45, 46, and 47. You skip a couple weeks of comic books, and all of a sudden there's three new of a series coming out. It's bi weekly, so it is what it is. This is part 5, 6, and 7 of the Sabretooth War. This is some of the absolute best reading you're ever going to find. I'm sitting here thinking to myself, like, after everything they did in the beginning of this, how could they possibly extend this over 10 issues? And now I can't wait for the final three issues to come out because my mind is blown at how good this is. I will say, more than anything else, two things. Well, no, three, in so much as what this comic book is. I am going to be looking at what Percy does in the future to see if this has helped him kind of get a better idea of what we fans want in a Wolverine comic book. I'm also going to be looking like crazy at Lavelle in the future and just in general, seeing like what else this guy can do if he could make something as amazing as this. Also, Jeff Shaw is currently one of the best artists, conceptual wise, at the very least, in Marvel. That being said, let me repeat who all these people are in this comic book. Victor Lavelle and Benjamin Percy are the writers. Jeff Shaw is the artist. Alex Sinclair, we already know this guy's amazing at colors. And VC's Corey Petit on letters. Hey, what's happening with you? Lanil Francis Yu and Romulo Fayaro Jr. did the cover art, and there's a couple other cover arts out there also. Actually looks, wow, I should actually look at some of these other ones. Sabretooth Through the Ages? Sick. You always got to see Sabretooth in a tuxedo, right? At some point or another. Every time I see Sabretooth nowadays, I think, remember when he was in a tuxedo? He was so badass. Anyway, so look, right off the bat, Sabretooth landing on the island, Krakoa, he's shielded again, coming back to this island, again, not having to worry about the Sentinels and whatnot. Meanwhile, every single other being and creature out there has to be terrified of this threat that they have zero chance of beating. When Necra and the Exiles are coming through on ship, do you remember when Danger was actually the? Turns out the Danger Room that the X-Men was using was actually a robot, sentient being called Danger. It would become the Blackbird and all sorts of other things for them if they needed it. I'm wondering what's going on with Ship now. Is this actually Danger? Anyway, so Ship was saying is like, you know that we have like less than 1% of a chance at even surviving, at least off beating these Sentinels. You understand that, right? Like that's how terrifyingly dangerous these things are. And it's hard to make a threat out of something in goldenrod yellow and hot rod red, right? But they managed to do a good enough job in it in these issues, in a lot of these issues, really giving the idea of the threat level of these Stark Sentinels. Which, by the way, wow, Stark is such a butt. Anyway, speaking of a butt, have you seen the female Sabretooth and the Kazar looking, thing that she's got going on? Oh my. She does not seem to reach a very timely end by the end of these three issues we're talking about, issue number 47 particularly. But man, oh man, oh man. So, Sabretooth has Quentin Quire's head. He's forced to do everything that Sabretooth tells him to do. There's very little that he can resist. He can be a butt. That's pretty much the most he can do. And aside from that, he does one little act of rebellion, which kind of sets him off in whatever it is, what it is. We're gonna get into all that stuff, but this my God, it blows my mind the creativity of this crew. Victor comes face to face with Wolverine at one point, and it's like, oh no, now what am I gonna do? But he's planned on it because he's trying to get something down in the Forge Tech area, way in the subcockles of the Krakoan Island, right? He's trying to get down to Forge's lab. There's something down there he wants. Of all the things that Forge has ever done that has changed the face of X-Men for a really long time, and one particular character, Storm, forever, What's that one device you could think of that all of us go back in our minds and think of? Yeah, the mutant nullification device. That gun that permanently removes mutant powers from a mutant, whether they call themselves a goddess or not. That's what he's going down there to get. And when Wolverine barges through, immediately he gets brainwashed, overcome with his brainwash thing. With Quentin Quire's abilities at Sabretooth's behest. And suddenly they're put back in that uniform that these two and Maverick and a couple others were in order to go and do their missions way back in the day. It's great because we delve into Sabretooth psychology just a little bit. I will never question when you do a good deep dive into someone's psychology, even just surface level. And Quentin, who you really get to understand how much he loves Wolverine in this, right? And not the kind of love that Disney's been pushing through kind of, well, I'm talking like that platonic friendship, that bond of solidarity, that mentor mentee sort of thing, where it's like, dude, I love this guy. Sorry, I'm overcoming sickness barely. But anyway, like, that whole, I love this guy. This guy, like, I would do anything for this dude because all that he's done for me, That's the kind of love that Quentin has for Wolverine. And it's great that they use that and kind of indicated that his snarky attitude, his jerk attitude, has simply been a cover for that, right? Or at least was buried under that. I love that idea, man. So Wolverine is now caught up in the illusion that he's back in the day on Victor's team. He's going to lead the way. Sabretooth is sitting there patronizing him a little bit, but mostly just, yeah, that's what we do. We kill people. We murder them. Doesn't it make your heart feel like it's full of worms that you just killed that guy over there? And now his kids and his kids and his kids, all those kids will never be. You just ended an entire line, right? And it's like, wow. When you start thinking about that kind of depth of depravity that Sabretooth, I don't know, kind of seems to coalesce in, not even exist, just coalesce in, right? He's drowning in this kind of hate. He's sitting there having Wolverine, the runt, lead the way to get them down into Forge's lairs through all the traps and everything else they're trying to do. Meanwhile, the exiles are on their way also to get down there. None of these guys can come back to life, but they're all acting like they can be brought back to life because of the recklessness of the things that they're doing. Maybe they've gotten into that psychology before. The idea that, hey, man, once I'm dead, I'm dead. There's no more coming back again, right? Like it used to be. I love the idea of that. I think I remember talking about that back around the Hoxpox issues. I think it was so long ago. So long ago that any kind of an X-Men book, in my mind, has been decent enough to read, at least off this good to lavish over, right? When they get down there, there's a big confrontation. The exiles, hey, what's going on? They start fighting each other. Sabretooth immediately rips off Toad's arm. I get it. His tongue would probably be a weirder thing to rip off, a thing that he would probably relish more, right? It's not just this is a part of my body, but this is my mutant ability specifically, right? A double whammy. But ripping off somebody's arm is good enough in my book, right? Toad's dead. You can't rip somebody's arm off at the socket, and especially their left arm, and expect them to live, right? So, because the heart, a little bit to the left, like it bleeds out more. Anyway, you could actually give somebody a heart attack by hitting them with the pointed end of a stick, right? Not a point, but the blunt end of a baseball bat or something like that, right under the armpit, right? That's actually lethal to do. That's how dangerous it is. When you have a heart attack, that's where the pain is that you feel. It's on your left side. It's my left shoulder. Actually, it's right there. But anyway, all sorts of stuff like this, man. Oh my God, the insanity that ensued. Wolverine comes up and double double gets whatever uh, melter, tears the guy into it literally in half, separated in two different pieces over here. He stops for a second. What have I done? Just as Quentin is like, I'm going to drop this illusion. He drops it for just long enough. I just want to go back with the whole art thing here. The collages that they've been doing, like the collage with X-23 fighting against the Khazar female Sabretooth. Those collages are so amazing. That one collage alone is so amazing. It harkened me back to the days of Gene Colan drawing for Daredevil. If you know, you know. And if you don't, you owe it to yourself to go back and look at some of those collages that Gene Colan did for Daredevil. How you see the movement, you can see exactly the flippy flip that he does, and how he throws his billy club, how it reflects off the wall, deflects off the wall, and comes back and he grabs it and hits somebody else with it, backhands someone, kicks somebody, still flipping in the air and moving, and you just see this line of what he does, right? I know a lot of people really like, what the heck is his name? The perverted guy who did X-Men for a while. He did the Alpha Flight, wrote and drew for them. Why can't I remember his name? Somebody will put it in the comments below. And I appreciate you for doing that. If I see it, I'll give you a heart. Thank you. I'll try and pin it. But anyway, yeah, and yes, he was perverted. If you've ever actually seen his work as he's working, the guy's freaking perverted. Damn it, what the hell's his name? Oh, that's so annoying. I hate when I forget something like this. Alpha Flight Creator. That's the easiest way to go. But John Byrne. Jeez, how do you forget John Byrne? Anyway, John Byrne. A lot of people love his art. Like, just, oh my God, the John Byrne art. John Byrne has really great art. Like when it comes to drawing something beautiful or drawing some statuesque looking thing or some terroristic looking golem, Gigazor or whatever, hair on a beast or whatever. Yeah, I've always thought that he was really good in his solid everyday drawing. But when it comes down to something specialty like drawing movement, the best we've ever gotten from him is Puck doing a straight line cartwheel attack, right? When you're talking about movement, nobody does it better than Gene Colan. And right now, we're seeing things that remind me of it here in this comic book. Like, credit where credit is due, man. Holy crap. They really put together a crack team on here. Like, you want to talk about Wolverine's team and Sabretooth and Maverick's team of going around and doing special hit jobs? That's who these guys are. Right? This is amazing. So at one point, the whole thing there is that they bring back Graydon Creed. He's now calling himself the Bad Seed. At first, I'm just like, what a stupid name. And then I stopped for a second. It's like, actually, that was the title of the introduction to Khan. Excuse me, you can't say that. Khan! Anybody's like, wait, Khan who? As soon as I did that, everybody's just like, oh, the Star Trek Khan. Yeah. Khan Sun. What was it? Khan Sun Singh. Something like that. Sun Ning Khan? Anyway, something like that. Yes, that guy from Star Trek. One of the coolest freaking bad guys ever in history. And that's kind of like the reminder that I'm getting with some of this stuff. So the Bad Seed, fine, call him the Bad Seed. Do what you got to do. I'm down with it. So he's going to be the new threat here. Sabretooth seems to get got because Quentin Quire comes out of nowhere and he's forced to kill Wolverine by shutting off his brain. mind you, this is after Sabretooth hits him with the gun. Some things seem kind of contradictory. Some things also seem kind of like, let's show the idea that while Sabretooth is a threat, he's also a chump. I hate the idea that he's a chump in any stretch of the imagination for the most part, but I get it. They've done so much to make him look like a chump in comic books that you have to kind of give that sense back and forth, right? You have to kind of keep that continuity in some regard. I'd rather personally just ignore all the chump stuff, but they did a pretty good job here. They finally get to the end. Sabretooth hits him with the nullification device, cuts him up, jacks him up really bad. That's cute. Wolverine is still able to overcome him. He jumps back. He turns Quentin Quire's skull thing into a big gun that's going to turn his brain off. Just as he's about to shoot, and this gives me vibes of the Bhagavad Gita. How in an instant so much can happen, and quite literally in less time than it took for me to snap my fingers, Quentin goes and sends his mind over to Phoebe, who wakes up and it's like, "Why are you just ahead? That's all that's left of me." And these two are like, blah, 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 whatever. But he's like, there's a lot that actually goes on in this conversation. It's like, could you guys come and get me, basically? He's like, I'd really appreciate it. I'm probably about to die now. Sabretooth is going to kill me, but he's about to make me kill Wolverine. He's like, you don't have to do anything you don't want to do. He's like, no, you don't understand. I have to. And there's the idea that you only have to do what you need to do. That kind of happens with Necra also. I don't know nearly enough about Necra to see why it's a big deal that she didn't kill Wolverine also. Because she had it in her mind that she's about to kill Wolverine just as equal as she was going to kill Sabretooth. I don't know if she knew what was going to happen with that little skull thing. I also don't know if you guys have been reading all of these comic books and you saw when she was given the skull. I didn't see that. I was not reading those comic books. Apparently she was given the little skull. I was wondering, like, what is this stupid thing that she's holding? Like, is this literally just like something that she stole from Mystique's, Kali looking waistband? I don't know. But anyway, so she had this little skull and she threw it, and you get to see what happens in issue number 47, what that thing actually was the whole time. They said it was supposed to be like a fate worse than death. Yeah, I could see that, but at the same time, it's just going to drive Sabretooth more crazy. I mean, in some ways, I've been getting a little more spiritual, a little more religious in my dotage. I've been kind of looking back on things and I don't know, kind of coming back to a bit of a more religious mindset. Makes me think about, hating your enemies versus loving your enemies and what that actually does, the psychological shift that can do to someone, you know? And seeing how would it have been better to just kill Sabretooth than to torture him for like an all eternity sort of thing? Yeah, it would have been more merciful to just kill him. Because actually turning the other cheek against Sabretooth isn't gonna work. That just makes it easier for him to finish cutting your head off. Oh, I didn't get it in the first swipe. Oh, thank you for turning your cheek. Now I can get the other side too. But torturing him, how long is that pleasure going to last for you? Was it enough as he comes back and starts killing all of your friends again? So it's a funny thing. Like when you think about the morality of some of the things that happen in these issues in general, but especially issue 47, it's nuts to think about it, right? Even a truly unrepentant enemy fighting with hate is not going to win. It might win the day, but we all live longer than a day. We're not fruit flies, right? We don't live only about 2 weeks or so. So maybe thoughts about the future and future generations might help. Would you want to, stab out the eye of an immortal being, knowing that he's going to probably come back and go after your kids or your grandkids after you're not there to protect them, or you're just too old to protect them. Yeah, it's a wild and crazy, kooky kind of thing. Anyway, there's so much in these issues. Wolverine does not actually die in this. In order for this to be truly amazing, what I think might need to happen is that X-23 needs to die. I, for one, wouldn't mind that too much because I still hate the idea that she's Wolverine also. I still hate that idea. But look, if you like X-23 more than you like Wolverine, I'm not here to disparage that. What I'm here to say is that Wolverine is the tried and true. And people have stuck with Wolverine despite pussifying him, right? Making him into a weakling. It's just really, I don't know, it's a strange thing. We still love the look of Wolverine. We still remember, like nostalgia wise, the how amazing Wolverine is. Spider-Man and Ben Grimm, the Thing. These two characters could not be beat in popularity until Wolverine came out. And then he trumped them both. And to this day, people still, oh, Wolverine, man. Yeah, I can't wait to see the Wolverine movie. No, 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 no. You can do whatever you want to Spider-Man. Make him this, that, the other thing, whatever. I don't care because there's so many different, Spider-Mens and they're all equal and whatever. Okay. But when you're going to get somebody who's like too tall to play Wolverine, nah, he won't work. When you get somebody who's just too nice or too pretty to play Wolverine, no, that won't work, right? There's always that idea of no, Wolverine has to be short. He has to be mean as nails, right? Mean as rusty nails. That's who he's got to be. This is a love for a character when you're like, we can't mess around with how he looks. And there's so few people out there who could potentially, you might just have to discover a new talent in order to get that person to play Wolverine, right? That is something else. So treating this character with love and keeping him preserved, you can't just willy-nilly kill him without a big event like the death of Wolverine, right? Even if he doesn't die the way that people necessarily want to see his death, it's still the idea of, wow, this is going to be a big deal, right? X-23 dying, I don't think you have to set up that event. It could be like oh yeah, that made sense, or it would make sense in my case, right? This review's going on for far too long now, but I think that's the ultimate way you can end this. Because after she even mentioned, she's like, did Wolverine get to open the gift? Right? If she died now, wondering that, when she inevitably comes back, wouldn't that just be amazing if that's the first thing she asks when she opens her eyes and sees Wolverine right there? How sick would that be? Anyway, guys, I love these issues. I love this Sabretooth War. Somebody on Twitter, I forgot to do a Twitter poll about this before I did the review. Darn it. I apologize, guys. But I do remember somebody, it's a bunch of people saying how much they love this. I do remember someone particularly, they, what did they say? Shoot. Oh, man, now I'm like through regret. I can't remember what the thing was. But there have been a lot of comments on these issues, and I get it. Like, this is a beloved character, and oh, that's what it was. Everything's a war now. The Batman war, the gang wars with Spider-Man, the this war, the that war, all these different wars. Why do they have to do a Sabretooth war now also? I don't know how good those issues are. I know how good these issues are. These are 7 out of 10 of some of the best issues I've read so far. And it's only 7 out of 10 because the other 3 haven't come out yet. I really hope this lands well. Even if it lands okay, it'll still be an amazing series. Probably one of the best, most memorable Wolverine storylines ever. The best Sabretooth storyline ever, right? This is so good. The only time I could think of something better with Sabretooth would be the short stint where he came back and he went after the X-Men and specifically went after Psylocke and made an enemy for life-ish, right? Um, that's the kind of feelings that this series is drumming up for me. You guys let me know how you feel in the comments below, and I'll mention them next time in the next video I do. Hopefully, I can get the last three of these issues one at a time because I reading this through, like being able to read the three issues in a row, it is kind of relieving. Like, oh man, what's going to happen next? Like at the end of this, Wolverine's saying, "I'm going to need some kind of a suit to to be able to survive because I don't have my healing factor anymore." Um, Quentin did stop at the very last moment and didn't actually shut off my brain. Um, so much happened, but Wolverine is jacked the F up right now. And Wolverine without a healing factor again, I would love to see Wolverine going through life without a healing factor again. Like, dude, sign me the heck up. Let me see the poisoning happening again. How's he going to get himself back? I really don't want him to die for him to have to come back and, oh, I've got my healing factor again. I don't want that to happen. Maybe I don't know what they're going to do. I have no idea what they're going to do. But I would love to see a new version of Wolverine having to deal with some kind of a problem again, even if it's the adamantium poisoning. Even if they could find some other way to do this. Oh, I'm so looking forward to what's going to happen after this. Oof, I love it. I love it. Love it. Guys, I'll talk to you later. Like the video, watch an ad. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.